So YouTube, we back at another one. Today I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I decided to do a little bit of a whiteboard session. Shout out to my man Cry. He kind of inspired me to get on this, but I want to talk about a couple of things I've been thinking about. If you guys can read my shitty handwriting, it always says that the devil always comes to collect. What does that mean? It's always said that the devil's greatest trick is to convince the world he doesn't exist when he actually does exist. You know anything about the Bible, you know they call the devil, they call your adversary. He roams around like a roaring lion trying to devour anyone he can. And I see a lot of correlation with that happening right now in our society. There are so many things that seem harmless on the surface level, but are actually really detrimental to our health, our physical fitness, our goals, what have you. And pop culture will have you believe that the devil walks around with a pitchfork, where he comes as like this just bad person that you can see coming from a mile away. But the truth is, the devil comes in a beautiful form, something that appears to be good to you. The Bible says that the devil can appear as an angel of light, and he is definitely misled, and is currently misleading a lot of people. So, for the modern man, what does the devil look like? I have several things we can talk about. I'm going to get into that right now. But first of all, guys, like the video, comment down below, and tell me what you want to see next. So let's get right into it. The number one way, actually, I'm not even going to rank these. They're numbers, but not going to be a ranking system. So the first thing that I see with men especially, the devil appears as what? Number one, you guys guessed it, pornography. Now with porn, guys, it's a double-edged sword because I think now in society and time, we're at a period where porn is more accessible than it's ever been. I see so many kids who are even like 11 or 12 years old. They have access to a cell phone, and what are they looking at? It's not necessarily just the latest Minecraft game, the latest video game, or the latest streamer. These things lead to darker paths. And I see a lot of kids, they'll be talking about watching porn at 11 or 12 years old. And where does this come from? It's kind of a messed up detriment. If you really think about it, years ago, you had to be a top 1% man to see any kind of woman. Whether you had to be the best coal miner, best steel miner, what have you in your town, you had to do something to go out and see women naked. You had to earn that. Now, you can pretty much be a loser and see more naked women than your grandfather, your great grandfather, all your ancestors saw their whole life in about a span of 5 minutes. You don't know how detrimental that is to your health because what are we about here? We're about earned dopamine. If you don't earn your dopamine, that cheapens it. And cheap dopamine leads to unhappiness, depression, not looking people in the eye, feeling anxious. But let's keep it a buck, guys. Watching porn, especially initially, that feels good. I remember a lot of time when I was younger, Friday nights was my favorite thing. I literally would know that I was off week for school, the weekend was coming. I could go home, jack off, and just eat food if I wanted to. And those things, they feel good on the surface level because you think to yourself, it's harmless. I'm not hurting anybody. But the truth is that has very long-term consequences. And they manifested for me personally when I was probably about 13 to 15 years old. But I spent a lot of time jacking off 3, 4 times a day. And then when I tried to get intimate with a woman, you guys know what happened. They call it the porn-induced erectile dysfunction. What happens is your hand cannot stimulate a woman's vagina the same way. So your body gets used to seeing the pixels on the screen, your hand movements. Then when you get with a regular woman, you're like, little guy's like, man, I'm not getting up for this. This isn't exciting enough for me. But I would just caution guys that if you really are right now in the realm of using pornography, I'm not really necessarily even 100% anti-porn. What I am is anti-overuse of it. Once, a couple of times a month, even a couple of times a week, fair enough. But if you can't handle that, and most people can't, it's just better to go ahead and cut it cold turkey. Because if you don't, this is one of the ways the devil's going to seep in for you guys, and it's not going to be pretty. The consequence that you're not going to like, it's going to be some things where like the first couple months, it's okay. But then when you're walking down the street, you can't approach a beautiful woman. You constantly sexualize them. You can't look people in the eye. You feel anxious all the time. If you feel any of those things, you might want to look at one of these things, man. Porn is probably going to be your number one thing. Now I want to hear y'all in the comments saying I don't watch porn, like that's not affecting me. Yeah, it probably is. Now the second one is so common that you pretty much see it all the time. Drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol is so common right now. It's not even a second guess to think about any of those things in our society. People are so formulated on happy hours, stress drinking, just trying to relieve any kind of pressure. Because let's be real, most people's lives suck and they're living the grind of the 9 to 5, waking up all the time, tired. They're not going to the gym. So this is their stress relief. If it's not weed, it's alcohol. If it's not alcohol, it's some kind of other drug. People need these things now to function. And when you tell people that you don't drink or smoke, it's like a shock. I mean, I say it all the time to people like, they're like, so what's your thing? People either wait for me to say I drink like brown liquor, white liquor, and if I don't say that, I'm like, no, I don't drink. They're like, oh, so you smoke then? I'm like, no. And see, people are so unhappy with their lives. They need a second to relieve themselves from it. I try to be sober minded as much as possible because any demons that I have, I don't want them to go away. I don't want to numb myself. If I'm unhappy with myself, I want to put the work in to figure out why. I want to look deep inside myself and say, okay, if I'm unhappy right now, where's that coming from? Where's that stemming from? Most people don't want to face themselves. So this is where drug and alcohol come into the play. And the reason that kind of made me write this down is because I went to high school, guys, and a lot of my friends, I went to one of the most popular high schools probably in DMV area. And a lot of my friends started smoking and drinking at a very young age, 18, 19. And I'm not going to lie, I was tempted to do it, but I've tried alcohol maybe 3 times and I've never tried weed whatsoever. I've been drunk probably 3 times. And I just never liked the way that it made me feel. And most people say they don't like that either, but they just push patches for the feeling. I don't like that, man. Like I feel nauseous. I feel sick. I don't feel productive. I feel sluggish. And then the bad effects it takes on your health, it's just not really worth it to me. And as far as weed, I saw the way they reacted to people that I went to high school with because they became more sluggish and just kind of lethargic. I don't want anything that's going to like numb and slow me down because I have to keep putting this work in. And every time I hear somebody defend weed, it's always like, yeah, Snoop Dogg does it. Elon Musk does it. Motherfucker, you ain't Snoop Dogg and Elon Musk. Why are you trying to compare it? You're a loser. You live at home with your mom. Different conversation. But I bring this up is because on the surface level, you're like, what's wrong with it? We're just having a good time. It's social lubricant. But see, that's how the devil sneaks in again. Back to my friends in high school, they started these habits at 18 and 19. And you'll be surprised how many of them were like student athletes. They look good. Some of the girls were really hot, tight young bodies that you always assume are going to be there because they're younger. But here's the thing, guys. Over the years, I would see a lot of my friends, maybe at a reunion, some impromptu cookout. One of my friends are having some kind of kickback or something, and I see them, right? And I knew they were doing a lot of drugs. They were doing a lot of smoking, more so alcohol. You'll see a girl, tight, young, hot body in high school. See it 4 or 5 years later, it's like, damn, shorty, like, what the hell happened to you? Like, they've gained 15, 20 pounds on the lightning. Their face is fat. You can just kind of see they got that yellowing of the eyes and they look like zombies. I'm like, dude, What happened? The same thing with my friends that smoke weed. They now all had the black lips, eyes all yellow, skin's bad. And it's like that 50 Cent lines like, damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie. The fuck happened to you? And I look at this and I'm like, guys, when you first started this habit, if you would have known you were gonna end up the way you look right now, would you have done that? I go back to high school, I'm the best looking one. I take care of myself. I try to make sure I'm in the gym. I don't do drugs and alcohol. I see how this is ruining people. This is ruining my family, if I'm being honest. So that's why I have to stay away from it altogether. And again, kind of like with the porn thing, I'm not anti it, but I am everything in moderation kind of person. But these things, the devils, they sneak in through the devil because it feels good. It feels like it doesn't have any kind of emotional regulation on it. So you're like, man, it's harmless. But next thing you know, that one drink turns into two, two turns into three. Then that three in one day turns to the following day. Then the following week. Most people don't have the discipline to even stop this stuff. So like me, I don't do it because I know I have an impulsive and I know I have an obsessive personality disorder. If I do this shit, I already know I'm gonna like it too much. So I just avoid it altogether. But as a man, you have to be forward thinking. Think 5, 10, 15 years in the future. Is porn, drugs, or alcohol, are they getting you to your goals? If not, cut them out completely. This is one you probably didn't expect to see on the list. I'm going to combine them because they kind of go hand in hand together. You have a steady 9 to 5, right? Making $100,000 a year, a 401k input, health insurance. So you're like, I'm good to go. But see, this is how the devil lulls you to sleep right here, too. It's like you getting complacent and getting comfortable. If you can't see the writing on the wall that's right here in America right now, that the 9 to 5 is pretty much dead, I think you're screwed over. And guys, this is not me advocating to go out and quit your job, but it is advocating for you guys to make an escape plan. Because that 9 to 5, when the shit hits the fan, it's not going to be there for you. Most people who are 9 to 5s, they're pretty much just scraping by. They have enough money that if something to happen, they can pay their bills. But if somebody gets sick, someone passes away, they're fucked. That's not a life I want any of you guys to live. So while you're on your 9 to 5, be making an escape plan. Use the weekends to skill up. Start making content. Leverage some high income skills. Understand how to make money, how money works. Because if you're low to sleep by this 9 to 5, I'm telling you guys, you are one emergency away from disaster. And the way that this economy is going, technology's taking over, AI is doing everything, you have to become valuable and irreplaceable. Because if you're not, you're going to be stuck here. Guys, your family's counting on you. I'm lucky enough to right now, I don't have any family, I don't have any kids or anything. But at the same time, I realize that if I want to have a family, if I want to have kids, I'm going to need way more income than a regular 9 to 5 can provide for me. Now, there are some instances where a 9 to 5 can be a blessing because it does provide you stability. It's not a shit on 9 to 5 thing. Understand that a 9 to 5 can be a stepping stone to you getting where you want to get. But don't ever get comfortable and let the devil lull you to sleep here. Outward and the devil talks about people who just kind of drift to society, drift through life. And I think the 9 to 5 is probably a thing where if you drift and you let there just kind of sit there without any kind of sense of urgency, you're going to look up 30 years later and like, damn, where the hell did the time go? Guys, work to get out of it. And that coincides with the procrastination. You cannot afford to let the devil steal time away from you. There is too much work to be done for you to be sitting there every single moment of the day thinking about doing something as opposed to doing it. Guys, I started this channel 3 years ago. I spent so much time trying to research the perfect camera, the perfect angles, the perfect strategy. You learn so much more by getting out in the field and just doing it. I'm telling you, that would have saved me years of time. And now I'm paying for it on the back end. I had the idea for Shattered Illusions 4 or 5 years ago. If I'm keeping the buck, I always wanted to be a content creator, but I was just always so scared. Then I would think that, you know what, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. The year after that turns into 2 or 3 years. And next thing you know, it's been 10 to 15 years, you haven't done anything. Guys, I'm not the oldest guy in the world, but people have always told me that as you get older, time goes by faster. I did not fucking believe them. But I look at myself now, I'm 32, and I know some people probably watching this like, dude, you're 32, shut up. But dude, in my mind, I'm still like a 15-year-old kid. That's how fast those years go. And people say they go by faster. I don't want them to go by any faster. But that's my point to any young guys, do not wait. Start now. I don't care where you are. If you want to be a content creator, start now. You will learn so much more by doing as opposed to sitting there watching, thinking, strategizing. Everyone says the same thing. Alex Hormozy, Gary Vee. You have to put ideas out there and see what works, which is why I'm doing this right now. Don't let your 9 to 5 or your procrastination stop you and let the devil come in. Because if you do, he will collect. Stay at your 9 to 5, he's going to collect with an emergency that you can't afford. Keep procrastinating, he's going to collect on your dreams, your goals, your ambitions. He's going to steal years from you. Don't let the devil do this to you. Oh boy, here we go with this number 4. All right, let's get it. Number 4, your health and your body. Guys, I have a very secret pleasure I don't really tell people about, but I love watching mukbangs on TikTok. It's normally some overweight person that I love kind of watching them eat. And I don't know why it's an obsession to me. It's probably me doing a couple of things. One, I secretly feel fat like them. Two, it keeps me motivated to keep going on my goals. And three, it's like dude, how can you hate yourself this much to overindulge in it? It's like watching one of those traffic accidents. You see it come, you just can't look away. And it's so funny because I'm still fat at heart. Ask anybody I know, they'll tell you. I love a good pizza. I love burgers. I love everything. I'm a fat boy. I still am. But I had to recognize that those things consumed too much over time are going to hurt you. So the TikTokers who are doing this for all these likes and a little bit of a payment in the month, they're not realizing they're casting a bill that they won't be able to pay in a few years. Because food is another thing. Dopamine hits, it feels good. You get that first bite of a pizza, a nice juicy burger, it just feels so amazing. But when you are that young, 31, 32, and you're already 400 and 500 pounds, that's what I tell you guys all the time. Problems over time, they're going to multiply. When you're under 30, that's when you're at your physical peak as a man or a woman. Why are you going to spend your bad years in a fat, overweight body where you don't feel good about yourself? And it's only going to get worse. So these people, it's always these people in the comments who are encouraging them. It's their body. Let them do what they want. Why are you judging them? And the thing about it is, I always say, would you rather be kissed with a lie or slapped with the truth? The people, they don't care. They just want to see them overeat. They want to see them feel better about themselves. And it's so funny. The people that are down there in the comments defending them always say, since you're defending them so much, would you switch places with them? All of a sudden, it gets really, really quiet then. But what I'm trying to say, guys, is that if you don't take your health and fitness very seriously at younger ages, it's going to be a downfall. You see, fitness is like money. It compounds over time. If you're in shape and you're start working out and lifting weights younger, that's going to prevent a lot of diseases moving forward. There's so many studies done over the years that say that if you just work and you move more, you become more death resistant over time. The more muscle you have, the less prone you are to diseases. So knowing that, why not invest in your health and your fitness at a young age? Most people don't think that way though, guys. These TikTokers, they're going to pay a price, and it's going to be ugly eventually, because then they realize that now they're 400, 500 pounds, and they wasted their prime being overweight. They're like, damn, where'd my life go? And it's so funny because people act like that America has like the best health insurance in the world. We don't. Our healthcare system is actually fucked. And I don't want to get into that on that video because I don't really know the solution to fix it. But I do realize that the best way to not have to deal with these bills in the future is not to be there in the first place. And that's not saying that, diseases or everything's 100% prevented by exercise, because it's not. But it does help your ability to starve off those things. Guys, there's so much literature. Go out there and look. But the basic premise is the more that you move, the more death resistant that you are. You'll resist death. But these guys are 31 and 32, and they assume because they feel halfway decent right now, or they feel like they still might be a little bit fat, but they have still some kind of energy. But man, when the devil comes to collect that bill for their health and their fitness, it's going to be an ugly thing. I just watched 600 Pound Life. It's one of my other favorite shows. Guilty pleasure again. I love Dr. Now. Hello. Hey, y'all doing? Trash ass impression. But I see so many of those people that are on those shows that end up passing away. One just passed away, I think, maybe 3 or 4 days ago. A rest in peace to a young lady, 40 years old, black woman. And I hate seeing that stuff because it's 100% preventable. Guys, if you don't take anything from this video, take your health and your fitness very, very serious from a young age. That's going to be the differentiator between you having to lay up in the hospital and have a bad quality of life, and you actually living well into your 80s, 90s, and being healthy. The devil will come to collect if you aren't serious about your health and your body. Oh boy, hit dog's about to holler right now. Let's keep it a buck, guys. Everybody loves a good toxic relationship. The ups and the downs, it always feels good. And when you're younger, especially, these are the things that you think that a person being abusive to you is a form of love, because it feels good to necessarily be down and then a person comes back and does something to make you feel so good. I give the example all the time. The reason that women stay with abusers is not because women like being abused, it's because it's the high and the lows of things. You see, most men who abuse women, they realize that they'll hit them, they'll call them out their name, then they'll go away and they'll come back and like, man, I shouldn't have done that. So they'll go out and buy some flowers, love bomb them, apologize profusely. And a woman goes from being so low to so high. That's the feeling between from being low and that high. That's the euphoria that people like experiencing, no matter what they say. It's like an emotional roller coaster. You go up on the ramp, you're feeling that, oh my God, what's about to happen? And you finally get to that peak and you come down and get that adrenaline rush. It's like, wow, this was great. That's how people are. But there are so many things that could have been avoided by just cutting the wrong people out of your life, or cutting off people who were toxic to you, who had no good intentions for you, right? I see so many women that I talk to on the show. You can go look at some of the past clips, that there are women that knew the guy was bad, didn't mean anything good for them, but they continue to have their children. And it's funny, you want to play in that land of lust and have to go after somebody, the devil's going to come collect with that. That's going to be your worst nightmare, I can promise you. If you have kids with this person gives you an STD, these are things that feel good in the short term because that toxic sex feels good. But when the devil comes to collect on that, it's not going to be something that you're going to like. There's so many people that I know, beautiful women I've talked to, that I could see the end of their life coming. And when I'm saying the end of their life, I'm not saying the end of their physical life, but kind of like more the mental ones. They met a knucklehead, a street dude, something like that. And that dude comes in and literally robs them of everything. And it's their fault because they're dealing with them. But women want to see the good and bad guys. That's why I always tell you guys, never let a woman deal with a bad guy than deal with you. Because my way of thinking is, if you can't see the bad in him, how can you see the good in me? Always think that way, guys. But trust me, you're dealing with a woman who's bad right now. She's impulsive. She doesn't respect you. She might not necessarily be the nicest person. Those problems multiply over time. Don't give this woman your seed. Don't be in relationships with them and go ahead and cut it off, because I promise you, that little punani might feel good right now, but when the devil comes to collect on that, it's not going to be something you want to deal with. That's going to be a bill that you cannot afford to pay, because the most important thing that you're probably going to decide when it comes to relationships is going to be the kind of woman that has your children or the kind of woman that you marry. Don't fall to the trap, guys. So, guys, everything comes with a price here. All this stuff has a price, and we have a common theme here. It's all about what? Avoiding instant gratification and making sure you understand that long-term discipline and consistency are going to get you to where you want to go. Because the devil's real. I don't care what I'm talking about in the literal sense and the physical sense. Literally, he actually is an adversary of God. Started out as Lucifer, fell from heaven. But also from an individual standpoint, the devil can appear in these 5 things right here. If you can avoid any of these traps, your life will be so much better. One of my favorite things Tyler Perry says is like, the Bible says that we have a few short years on this earth. And the Lord pretty much guarantees they're going to be filled with trouble. So why are you going to go ahead and add trouble on top of the trouble you already promised by God? These things will multiply your trouble exponentially, because they do not seem bad on the surface level. But if you're not careful, the devil will lull you to sleep. And when he comes to collect on whatever this is, when he comes to collect that bill, you're not going to be able to pay it. And potentially it could cost you your life. As the Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee. Focused on hard work, dedication, grit, determination. These are going to be your factors in resisting the devil. You need to make the hard choices now so you can avoid falling into these traps. Guys, the devil always comes to collect. He never forgets what he's owed. Thank y'all so much for watching. Like the video again. Subscribe, comment down below what you want to see. That's all my time till the next time. Kill the fantasy, build the dream. Shatter the illusions.